Governor Abbott hosted 10 other Republican governors today at the Texas border. The group criticized President Biden's border policy, saying that they are now responsible for immigration enforcement instead of the federal government. Here to talk about this is Ed Espinoza, president of Progress Texas, and former Texas GOP chairman James Dickey. Ed Espinoza, was this event at the border actual news or political theater?
So it's a good question, because it very much was political theater. We see Governor Abbott go down to the border on a regular basis, usually right after a poll has come out and always after his poll numbers are less favorable than he wants them to be. And last week we saw a poll come out show that it was 51% of Texans disapproved of his job. His approval rating was 10 points underwater. And when you look at how much the legislature has given to the border over the past few years, it's in the billions. It's close to $4 to $5 billion over the past 4 or 5 years. That is a lot of money to show no progress. So if he says it's his issue now, he's got nothing to show for it when he's been putting money towards it for a long time. This is absolutely theater.
James Dickey, do you think the governor's focus on the border is at the detriment to other issues in the state?
Well, not at all. And using Ed's logic, then Biden and Harris should be spending every day at the border, because Biden's numbers are tanking, given how terrible a job he is doing on everything countrywide. This is absolutely necessary. The billions that Ed talked about are necessary for Texas to pick up the load that the federal government is completely abandoning. They are doing their best to bail out while the federal government is putting a fire hose on. We saw in 1 month this year, illegal crossings double immediately after all of the really dumb and counterproductive executive orders issued by the Biden administration. And it's important to see 10 governors work together to try to combat the federal government completely abdicating their responsibility.
You know, Ed Espinoza, talking about now not just Governor Abbott, but these other governors coming as well. Is that a signal to the Biden administration that something is wrong on the border?
I think that this is an issue that has gone on well before the last 9 months where Biden has been in office, well before any time that Trump or Obama or anybody else was in office. So here's the thing. No matter where you stand on this issue, if you are for building a wall or if you are for reforming immigration, if nothing will change, I repeat, nothing will change until there is comprehensive immigration reform. Just last week or the week before, we saw thousands of Haitians at the border coming in the right way, asking for amnesty because of the situation back home and what they've gone through, and they came to a valid port of entry. But because we have no humanitarian or immigration infrastructure to accommodate that, we are in the situation we are in. The only way to address this is to have that infrastructure and to have comprehensive immigration reform.
Okay, James, if you could just kind of try and be brief as you can.
Sure.
James, what should the federal government do right now to secure the border?
All they would have to do is reverse the bad policy changes they made just months ago. The things like remain in place, things like actually enforcing the laws that are on the books. Undoing that made a 600% increase or 500% increase in 6 months. All they have to do is undo the bad policies they changed.
All right,
the bad policy changes they made.
We got to wrap it up there. Ed, James, thank you both very much.
Thank you.